Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor who happens to be wearing this shirt. There's no meaning behind it. I'm going to be reviewing the album It's Only Me by Lil Baby, and I have to admit that this is very challenging music for me. This is exactly why I like doing this channel. I like pushing myself, pushing my tastes to try to understand things that I would normally just dismiss. You know, part of why I like doing this channel, and I get a lot of, most of my fans, I think, are here for underground hip-hop. But one thing I always say is that the reason hip-hop is so alive, that rap is so healthy, is that it has such a strong mainstream and a strong alternative current, or multiple currents. But, I can't just ignore the mainstream. I have to listen to it, I have to give it the attention that it deserves, I have to focus on it. And it's a hard thing to do as you get older. I mean, I was around 25 when I gave up on mainstream rap. But before then, Run DMC, Public Enemy, NWA, Jay-Z, even Puff Daddy and that album No Way Out, which is like, there's a lot of bad songs on there. I bought that album, I liked it. It was right up until 50 Cent, when my mid-20s music death happened, where I just fell off of mainstream rap. And so as the emo trap and the SoundCloud and the Southern stuff and the future, as it all came up with the trap beats and the drill beats and the auto-tuning, I just didn't get it. So I've reviewed a lot of albums now at this point. I've reviewed Lil Yachty and Future and Young Thug. I've done a lot of this music, and it's been really interesting and exciting to watch to sort of experience my own brain and my own ears learning how to discern the differences between these artists that might seem similar. It's always funny because, my wife's first language isn't English, and she has a very hard time understanding rap music, but she's actually come a really long way. Up until Lil Baby, where she's like, I don't understand a single thing that he says. So let's spend a little more time in Old Manville, okay? I'm in my mid-40s. I grew up in what people call the golden age of rap music, although that was nothing compared to right now. It's way better time to be a rap fan now than it was in the 90s. If you don't think so, open up your ears, old man, old woman. I want to talk about Lil Baby and just the stupidest truth. The stupidest truth. His name is confusing. For old people who aren't young people like you paying attention to music, I hear Lil Baby and I hear Da Baby, and I'm like, there's too many babies, and now a Baby Keem? Whew. Are these all the same people? No, I know they're not. I just got this book, and it made me laugh, because on the cover is, Ice Cube and Ice-T. And I remember when I was a young man, old people being like, Ice Cube and Ice-T? Who's next? Ice Tray and Ice Shelf? Ridiculously, just that you could not be more different than Ice Cube and Ice-T. The idea of putting them together just because they're both West Coast gangster rap pioneers with the name Ice is ridiculous. And just because Da Baby and Lil Baby are both Southern rappers, they are wildly different. But still, when you come from the old school and when you're an old fool, it is very hard to differentiate between these different artists. So you can call me an old man, you can call me a boomer, that's fine. I'm not saying that my wisdom is the reason that I couldn't tell them apart. I'm telling you it's my ignorance. Fortunately, Kanye West exists. Well, that's not something a lot of people are saying right now, but fortunately Donda exists. And that album Donda was like we're the same age, Kanye and I. It was like a lesson. It was like he sat me down and said, Sky, if you're going to be doing this channel, you need to learn the difference. You need to understand what Lil Durk sounds like and how different that is from Lil Baby and Da Baby. And so it was great because I was able to really understand it. When I heard Da Baby's verse on Jail, I understood who he was. And when I heard Lil Baby's verse on Hurricane, I was able to completely differentiate them. Not just I didn't even have to think about it anymore. By the way, controversial take, Lil Baby is as important to Hurricane as The Weeknd. The more I listen to it, the more I realize that this is that great thing that Lil Baby does. This is what makes him a great artist. This is why he is differentiated from the others. And I wouldn't have seen it, or it would have been a lot harder for me to see if it wasn't put in that context where I could better understand it, and now with this album. So, thanks to Kanye, thanks to this channel, I'm here giving Lil Baby a shot. But beyond my just general old manness, and you can laugh, but it'll happen to you too, or it's already happened, there's two commercial pressures which make this album difficult to listen to. I wrote down in my notes, I don't have a script, I have notes, make this album like torture. It's not torture, but if I went back in time 5 years ago, before I started the channel, before I started paying attention to this, before my Donda lesson, these are the two things that I wouldn't have been able to listen to the album. Number one is the streaming bloat. I used to call it Drake disease, but Drake is not the only person who does it. I understand. Everyone's got to get their bag. That's the modus operandi, right? So the only way to make money on streaming is to get a lot of streams. And the easiest way to get a lot of streams is to have a lot of songs. So it's 26 songs. It is punishing. It is a punishing experience for a music reviewer. They actually need to think about this. If you're an A&R, or if you're an artist or whatever, think twice before you put out an album that's 26 songs long, because your reviewers, if your revenue depends on reviewers at all, you're going to get hit hard. Because if this album was just the 12 best songs, I'd be like, this might be the album of the year. This is an unbelievable thing, but you just can't get around the bloat. And the other part of it, and this is hard for old guys like me, is this is not intended to be sold or purchased. No one is supposed to buy this album. It's too long. There's too many songs. Too many of them are too similar to each other. Too many of them are not fully formed. It's meant to be streamed. That's the format. So that's the first thing I have to get around. Because, you see back there, I've got thousands of CDs and hundreds of albums, okay? I'm an old fool from the old school. And then there's the second element of this. And this is tied into the first element. And I swear to God, this is a positive review. I like this album, by the way. But I want to talk about the things that make it hard for somebody who was raised at the teat of the RZA and DJ Premier, how albums like this are difficult. Is not only the streaming, but that it's made for a distracted and disinterested audience. Like, not only is the album long because that helps to stream, but also it feels to me like he isn't writing music to be a hip-hop quotable. Like, he's not trying to say the best lines. It's the sort of vibe mode that with this kind of music. This just sort of consistent vibe, consistent production, everything. I'm not going to say everything sounds exactly the same, because I'll get into some of the differences. But it works as a vibe. And again, I'm still getting used to that term. I'm still trying to figure out what a vibe even means. How does it apply to art? So those are the two commercial pressures, which I think really make this a challenge to listen to. And again, I like this album. As far as the production goes, there's a lot of different producers, which is a little bit tricky. That's always tricky when you see a lot of producers on a project. But it's really just the tyranny of the 808. Just the 808 drum machine. Once again, thank you, Kanye, for bringing it back. I'm creating a class on hip hop music for my college in the spring, and I'm doing a lot of research right now. Obviously, I have to understand Atlanta hip hop, so I'm happy to be studying this. But this is one of the best books, if not the best book ever written about hip hop. It's called Black Noise by Trisha Rose, and she describes why the 808 is so important. And I'm just going to read it because the sound of an 808 hi-hat and bass drum is so omnipresent in this album. This is a quote from Curtis Blow, the first rapper ever signed to a major label, one of the true founders of the old school. It's a fat sonic boom. The 808 is great because you can detune it, get this low frequency hum. It's a car speaker destroyer. That's why we try to do as rap producers, break car speakers and house speakers and boom boxes. And the 808s do it. It's African music. Later, Hank Shockley, one of the producers of Public Enemy, discusses the value of an 808 as well. Interestingly enough, he didn't use 808s. Public Enemy didn't use 808s in their later projects, which might be why the 808s went out of style up until 808 and Heartbreak. I don't know. It's not like a regular kick drum. It's this giant basketball that you hear on just about every record now. Boom, boom, big and heavy, like a reggae sort of feel. So that's the other element of it. So that like the idea of it being a vibe is so tied in to that 808 hi-hat sound and that 808 bass drum sound. So I'm 10 minutes into the review, and I haven't said much positive about Lil Baby other than I like Hurricane. He's a very easy man to like. He has a very charismatic voice. His flow. So because I'm an East Coast guy, and because, if you watch my top 5 rappers video that I did, last year, they're all East Coast guys. I'm a super East Coast guy. It's really hard for me to get behind Southern rappers. It's not the natural, my ear doesn't naturally pick it up. But you really hear it. And the thing that you really hear with Lil Baby is the emotion that he's able to put in, even when he's talking in a monotonous way or just sort of like he's able to imbue his words with emotion. He's able to imbue his words with fragility. Thematically, it's a lot about owning cars. Not a lot about clothes. Not a lot about houses or jewelry. That is there. It's mostly about owning cars. No drugs. I mean, he talks about having sold drugs, but he doesn't talk about doing drugs. So already, okay, because it gets a little bit depressing to me because I just think about all these poor kids getting hooked on codeine and it just makes me feel sad. It makes it hard for me to listen to, So like, he talks about selling drugs. It's mainly an album about I used to be down here, now I'm up there. But it's also interesting because he's talking about his artistic evolution. And this is the thing. Underestimate Lil Baby at your risk. Just put him on the pile of Southern rappers, which is what I was tempted to do. But he actually goes beyond that. He really does. With this theme of I came from the bottom and then now I'm here. But then also, like just last album, just last year, I was down here. Now I'm up there. The thing about it though, and what makes me so interested, is a kind of emptiness. And a kind of insecurity. And I think that really comes through. And that's the kind of thing that a lot of rappers hide. It's a lot of thing that rappers can't hide. And it's, I think, at the center of this project. I mean, let's think about the title. It's Only Me. Not all eyes on me, like Tupac. Not me against the world. But it's only me. That implies a sincere sense of isolation, obviously. On the cover, we have him sitting by himself. Behind him is a Mount Rushmore of 4 very important people to him. Him. Not only that, but they're up in the clouds. And when they're in the clouds, that forcibly reminds you of Mufasa's appearance to Simba in Lion King. Where he appears in the clouds. So who's his spiritual father? Who's going to help him? Him. And he's sitting alone, and there's all these little baby goats implying he's the greatest of all time. But it's just him. It's only him. The cars that he keeps talking about, the money that he keeps talking about, is always punctuated with this sense of isolation and loneliness. And this bass, this omnipresent, everywhere bass drum, doom, doom, sounds like a dirge. Just private jets and Lambos, private jets and Lambos, Lambos and private jets. Despite all of this success, there's also true insecurity. It's only me. I know, you were expecting somebody great. You were expecting some awesome artist, but it's only me. That's the other way to read it. It's only me. Sorry, I'm not Future or Gunna or Kendrick or whatever. It's only me. Sorry. Go do whatever. Listen to whatever you were going to listen to, because it's only me. This is fed by a lot of lines on the album. You can pick out where he directly speaks from a point of insecurity. Sometimes it's about being physically small. Sometimes it's insecurity about the way that he was raised. Sometimes he just appears to have a low opinion of himself, which he puts out there. Which is all this great complexity, because this is a rap artist and he's bragging all the time, and dear God, does this guy have a lot of Lambos. This dude loves Lamborghinis and foreign cars. I drive a foreign as well. Toyota. You know, like, he's just constantly bragging, but he's also very insecure. And he feels like a small man. So, hey, remember when you were watching this video a couple minutes ago and you're like, oh man, why is Professor Sky going dookie on this album? I'm not. It's a good album. And it's very interesting. It's just got that streaming bloat. And you know what I say to that? So what? Okay, that's it. That's that. Okay, we accept it. The best way, in my opinion, to treat art is to identify the thing that bothers you the most, accept it, and then move on. That's how you can really open up your taste to things. Like, just sort of accept, like, this is the one part I don't like. You know, like if I eat a really good salad and there's radishes in it, like, I don't like radishes. But they're there, enjoy the rest. The vibe, the 808s everywhere, the too long, the bloat, accept it, and then see what's interesting. So let's get to the album. Let's get to the first song, the first track, Real Spill. This is going to be my stamp, my example of the album. Sorry, the sun is setting, so the light's getting weirder and weirder in here. I'm going to be releasing this tomorrow morning, but it'll be tomorrow morning by the time I'm done. The first track, Real Spill. This is my example song. It's got this cool... The production's interesting because there's a lot of different people doing it, but there's a very consistent thing where not only do we have the 808s, but we often have haunted Halloween sounds. Like Halloween voices. Like we have Sade in the back. Say it? Sade in the back, gentle and mournful. Only love could bring us to this bitter place, kind of pitched down. And then he comes in saying, I know that. And then the bass is boom. It's that what Curtis Blow calls African 808, you know, that big old drum. And then he paints a portrait of himself. And the thing is, if you listen, I swear to God, if you hate Lil Baby, if you hate Southern rap, just listen to Real Spill 2 times in a row with the lyrics in front of you. You're going to get it. Look at the way that he starts it off. I know that I'm beneficial. Cincinnati. So insecure. I know that I'm beneficial. Okay. I can't show no feelings. Bentley windows tinted. Nowadays ain't no time for me to kick it. Business too intensive. They gonna say I've been acting different. I'm beyond they mental. I move forward from slanging drugs and pistols. They think, and they can't be thinking simple. Tighten up my circle. Someone can't be leaking info. The Maybach triple black. This ish relax and feel like I'm in a limo. I pull through the hood, let them see. I let down all the windows. I know that I'm the motivation. They see me. I'm a hero. Lots of rich, but I hit different when you come from zero. They know I bang C's, but every day I need a B-roll. Super superstitious, ask my I still pick up pennies. A lot of rappers come from nothing. A lot of rappers talk about coming from nothing. Picking up pennies. That's that depression mentality, okay? You can't give attention to these issues when you get your name mentioned. If I don't kill him, you're going to be in critical condition when I'm finished with him. Some ish can't phase you when you've been that Brody died, that ish had me all sentimental. Cuz got life, I pray they overturn his sentence. So all the way through, we have this portrait of him coming from nowhere, and then this car, always this car with the tinted windows and no one can see him, and he's losing friends, and he's trying to be, like, you get the isolation in that verse, because he's losing friends, and he has to keep up his windows, and they have to be double tinted, and it has to be in a black car, it has to be in a limo, okay? But then also, he's trying to inspire the people, but then also, his people are in jail. The chorus is interesting because he talks about being a real and that real win again. We're back in style now. And it's funny because, like, you know, if you read his biography, it seems as though he really did come from nothing. It seems like he did spend time in jail before he was 17. God damn, I hate the war on drugs. Can you imagine putting a 15-year-old in jail? Like, congratulations, civilization, we lost. Anyways. And you know, he really... like, there's something about his delivery that really works where you really feel that pain. You can say whatever, but if I change, it's for the better. That ish was painful, but I ain't let it up. I left a stain in the ghetto, been inside the mix since a lil. I don't know if using the word JIT is racist for a white person to use it, so I'm not going to. I got my name from the ghetto. So, like, he's talking about his name, talking about where he comes from. That's painful. He's expressing it. This is everything that Lil Baby does great. Everything Lil Baby does great in one song. You hear his flow, you hear his sing-songy, you get personal, you get the sense of mourning and loss and success. And there's 25 more songs to get through. Next song is Stand On It, more of an ominous beat, very Halloween-y. Guitars, bass. Hey, rap artists, don't let the guitar players into the studio anymore, okay? I know, it seems cool because, like, you think that, like, guitars is, like, real stuff. But just don't. Just don't, okay? Just don't. Just leave guitar players alone. It never sounds good. Like a really, like, electric guitar. No, I get it. I get it. That, like, you sort of want to be rock and roll and that you think that this might be some kind of legitimacy. Let's say it plainly, some kind of legitimacy, like in a sort of white musical world by having a guitar player. Not that all the great guitar innovations in the world weren't made by African Americans, which they were, but still, the idea of an electric guitar being played, to me, feels like an attempt to get that kind of approval. Hey, have strings on there, that's fine. Hip-hop goes well with strings, hip-hop goes well with all sorts of unexpected instruments. But God, I hate hearing the sound of, you can tell, just someone being like, hey, what if we put a guitar on there and then go get a studio guitarist? Sorry. Good song, though. I like it. He sort of goes in and out of, like, talking about how tough he is and talking about how soft he is. Here he's talking about his Draco. Next song is called Pop Out. This song, this is what I'm talking about. Like, if this album were the first song and then right on to Stand On It, I mean, skip over Stand On It, and go straight to Pop Out, that would be track after track, just bam, bam. But instead it's like bam, yeah, bam. Really cool voice in the back, synthesized strings, pulsing beat. Again, just always just resolves into that same kind of 808 kick. The bass work becomes sounds more like drill music with the way that it sounds. And then we get a beat switch, and then Nardo Wick is on here, and he's just awesome. And I don't know. I done stuffed a million in the duffel, Smurf dollars, blue color, pull up a big body, Brabus, the new Hummers, told me I lay the pipe right, I'm her new plumber. It's hard to interact with people. I come from the jungle with this. We some animals in designer clothing and jewelry. We drive the same cars they drove in Fast and the Fury. She asked, why do I love her? I said, you can't be serious. Cold-hearted, touch my chest, you gone burr. A great verse. In a way, I think Nardo Wick kind of out Lil Baby. Like, this might be the best verse on the album, and it's totally in the same lane that Lil Baby is in on the whole album. It's not quite as personal, but still, like, talking about his coldness and talking about the feelings of alienation, like he's not a human being. Point is, I really like this verse. I think it's great. And then Baby comes back in, and then he's got this other style. So he has, like, all these different flows. That's the thing. That's the beauty of doing this channel. Is I used to, 5 years ago, if you put on Lil Yachty or Future, I would just go, it's all the same. It's all just mumbledy. Ice Cube and Ice-T, okay? It's the same stupid old person thinking. Now I can hear, and this is that Lil Baby style where it's a little bit raspy. It's just a little bit, like, tired. Like, kind of like a tired, raspy guy. Raspy Lil Baby. Also, not for nothing, I listened to this album like 3 times with my little baby. I have a baby who's 6 weeks old. It's very funny. my wife was like, I think I understand the little baby more than I understand Lil Baby. Next song is called Hey, with, like, bells and harp sounds. My son, who listened to this album with me, he gets really mad at the repetition of the 808 beats and just that same rhythm happening over. He gets madder than I do. So what are you gonna say? What are you gonna do? But this one, it's true. It has a little bit of a different beat. It's sort of a weird sex song. His relationships with women are very bizarre on this album. My favorite B word just cut me off, and she won't even let me know the reason. Hey, Lil, it's probably because she's your favorite. If she's your favorite, that means that you have others. So she might have cut you off because of that. But the other thing is, too, is, he talks about this theme of love being not as good as money. It'd feel way better to count to 1,000,000. I came from the bottom of the bottom. Just constantly he's talking. It really seems that the money is the only thing he can really trust. He talks about like sharing women and this ominous beats. He sounds like a terrible, like, on paper, you read his lyrics, you're like, this guy's terrible. He sounds like a misogynist jerk who just treats women like objects and property to be passed around by his friends. But then you hear his voice, and you're like, he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy. You can't help it. He just has that charismatic of a voice. He refers to sex for his partners as a trial for a bag. I need to remember this because actually, Trisha Rose's work on the presence of women in hip hop and the way women are treated in rap music. You think you know what she's going to say, but you don't. It's like an amazing chapter on here. She talks a lot about the exchange value, but this is like the clearest way. Like, you're on trial for a bag. Like, sex is a trial. It's not even work. It's like the judge has to declare that you have been granted a bag, a Kelly bag or Hermes bag or whatever. Hermes. Next song is called California Breeze. Again, like, in a perfect world, this song wouldn't be on the album, and it's not even a bad song. It's just, if I could just trim this puppy down to 10 songs, it would be awesome. Sorry, that's my son. He's going out. I don't edit my videos, so you're going to have heard that. More of this stuff. I made it in the trenches. #1 on YouTube, private dinner in Malibu. He talks about YouTube a couple times, which I like. I like an artist who pays attention to YouTube. If you're watching, Lil Baby, what's up? Probably not watching. You're probably confused, Like, does this guy like me or not? I do. Ain't no bullish in this game. Wherever the plane land, I'm the littlest N-word there. So this is the first reference I found where he talks about how small he is. Now, it is weird, right? And also, if you haven't watched FD Signifier's video about John Singleton's movie, Baby Boy, you must watch it, okay? I saw Baby Boy when it came out because I like John Singleton's work, but I had no frame of reference. I didn't understand the infantilizing, why black men are infantilized in black culture, in American culture, how that infantilization plays itself out, modes of masculinity. Dude, just don't listen to me. Go watch that video because he explains it really well and about how this happens. And that's the thing about this Da Baby and Lil Baby and Baby Keem and Lil Wayne and Lil this and Lil that. It's all part of a larger social context with how African American men are socialized and how they are accepted in society and how they're seen. Don't listen to me about it. Watch the damn FD Signifier video about it. But it's interesting because he talks a lot about his size, about feeling short, about being short. And I like it because at times he's like saying, he's trying to like overcompensate. And other times he's just like, I'm the smallest guy. I'm the smallest guy there. Like, he's just saying, he's kind of owning it. Next song is Perfect Timing. More electric guitar on this thing. Oh, God. I would love to just John Belushi and electric guitar. I'd love to Pete Townsend every electric guitar that's ever been in a rap studio. I don't mind when they sample electric guitars, but when they get a studio musician to play electric guitar in the back, God, it sounds so bad. Fell in love with stacking hundreds, plus my favorite color is blue. Started this ish with nothing. Ain't no way I can lose. Another thing, like, part of what I like, not only do we have this sort of last song where he says I'm the littlest guy and I'm not surprised you're stereotyping me to be a little guy. He's constantly talking about how little he is, but also he's constantly talking about how he can't lose, which I think shows a fair amount of insecurity about the fact that he might lose. More desolation in this song. B-words trifling, N-words sniping, ain't no love, an N-word will hit your baby mama, Tom Ford jacket, bell-bottoms, ain't going to prom though, marble countertop to these floors, I'm from the slum ho. Just like marble, just the whole thing, it's just, sometimes he gets this way, sometimes his verses, this will happen later, he feels like he's like confused, like he's just like saying like 5 things at once, he's just like, trifling and sleeping with my baby mama. I got a Tom Ford jacket and floors are marble. I came from nowhere. I'm teasing, but the serious part is that it's showing, I think, this sense of frustration, and it's only me. It's only me. It's only me. Next song is called Never Hating. Kind of a different flow on this one. I like it because it's sort of like a little bit more top heavy. Feel like this is the first day of the school on the weekend. I put this ish on today for no reason. Got something to smile about. I fixed up my teeth. Straight from the lot. Call perm. Get it geeked up. I fixed my teeth. I fixed my teeth. He's not saying I put on gold fronts. He's not saying I put diamonds in my forehead. He's saying I fixed up my teeth. I'm telling you, this guy oozes insecurity, but he does it in a way where he addresses it. And this is a secret, by the way. If you're really insecure and you admit to your insecurity, people won't see you as being insecure. They'll just see you as like, that's an honest person, you know? So that's what he does. Young Thug comes on here, it's kind of a similar flow. Jets and Lambos, Jets and Lambos, Jets and Lambos. Next song is called Forever, featuring Friday, 3 Ys. Cool, kind of odd voice. Here, maybe it's because he has this R&B guy singing along that he's sort of, Lil Baby's sort of in hurricane mode, just these kind of like echoes in the back. There's this beautiful part where the bass drops out for a little while. Kind of very intimate. Again, you just can't help but love Lil Baby's style. How we get so deep so fast, bass stop playing, I'll beat your ass. You be on some toxic ish, but I can't get off this itch. Like, very weird. Very weird. Next song is called Not Finished, which some rap songs, in the way that they're produced, remind me of like the songs they play when a basketball team is about to come out onto the court. Puffy actually played with this kinds of sounds a lot, like on the No Way Out album and everything. It's like a rocky, like a kind of get psyched sports song. Kind of have that here. The voice here is basically not altered. And here's another example of him just being super confused in this chorus. Just each of these lines is taking a different thread. Yeah, I'm going to tell you when I'm finished. Never. I get sturdy when I'm in it. Bow. So he's talking about his ability at sex, which is apparently quite good according to himself. Talking about how I hurt her feelings. Ouch. If I want it, I'm going to get it now. So now we're talking about the emotional register. Shooters in here. What? Why are you talking about shooters? You're just talking about how good you were at sex, and you talked about how your girl caught feelings. Shooters in here, all the windows down. Oh, you trying to get a bag? How? Everybody know we pushing them pounds. So like the entire album, he's talking about how he's not pushing pounds. And now he is pushing pounds, and he's got shooters, and it's in a chorus where he's talking about being good at sex and then hurting someone's feelings. It's all mixed up. In a Minute features the first producer tag. And I'm someone who likes producer tags in general. I like them quite a bit. But it gets oppressive when there's 26 songs, so I like that this is the only one here. Here, again, these mournful, chopped up voices in the back, and there's a point where you hear a real drum set. A real drum set. A real drum set. Let's go! And then the real drum set cuts out. The 808s come back. 808, 808, 808, boom, boom. Always, always. More insecurity. Turn something into nothing. Bruh, I'm living proof. How can I lose when we in the who's who? This is just funny because, like, did you know that you can, like, actually, like, pay? Like, if you're in the who's who book, you usually have to pay to get into that book. But that's how they publish the book that's called the who's who. So, like, I could be in the who's who. It's that insecure thing. He also talks about being on stage with Billie Eilish. Hey, Billie Eilish is back. Next song is called Waterfall Flow. And this is the thing, right? Cut it out. Get it out of here. Cut the song. Hey, it's a good song. I like this song. Individually, good song. Individually, good song. Not much of a song. Doesn't develop much. Vibe. Cool. But just cut it out. Knock it off. I'm trying to review your album. I have to think of things to say about each song. What am I supposed to say? Okay, it starts without drums. That's kind of cool. But then the 808s come in. I got all excited that it might have like 2 seconds away from an 808. I took a little piece and went and maximized it. I took a little fans and I had and amplified them. Okay, that's interesting. We're going back to this theme of smallness. He talks about how he started with smallness and became big. He's very concerned with smallness. So that's good. But just, come on. Next song, Everything. It's a more interesting beat here. Piano loop, these little high notes as well. Simple chorus, but again, just cut it out. Just cut it out. It's a good song. Take it off the album. But you can't, because you need the streaming. I get it. Knock it off, old man. From Now On is the next song, and this is what I'm talking about. This, if you cut out Waterfall in that last one and you skipped right to From Now On featuring Future, this album would be a classic. Super ominous. Almost like that Set It Up beat off of Yeezus. Wow, 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 wow. Has that ominous style. This great chorus. FaceTime, he's still talking codes. I thank the feds on every iPhone. You know, like he's talking about speaking in codes. Switching up my image, no more pictures with my styrofoam. Why the F I keep buying these houses if I'm never home? You know, so he's talking about like no longer having pictures with the codeine that he's drinking and sort of showing that he's trying to grow as a person, trying to grow his image, trying to be more mature, trying to be less Lil Baby. You know, when Lil Baby grows up, he'll just be Baby. He can't be Big Baby. There's already a Big Baby. Right? Anyways. Watch the FD Signifier video, please. It's very interesting. 5'9", but I ain't that small. Feel like I'm 12 feet tall. Like, that's a line from here. Okay? So very much, very, very insecure, very much talking about it. And then Future just jumps on. There's not like, this is over and that's that. It's this back and forth. Future makes it clear that if Lil Baby is a baby, then Future is his father. Just for the style, it's great. Get millions of dollars walking in Prada, drinking out styrofoam. I think this is on purpose, right? Because Future is like super smart, right? Like he talks very slow and he does a lot of drugs, and so you don't know how smart he is. But when you study his music, you realize he's super smart. Like he's like talking about his the exact opposite of the previous verse. But the thing they're unified on is this kind of paranoia that they have, and they whisper the outro. Just awesome, you know? If we could pare this album down to 6 tracks. All right, I'm done saying that. Next song is called Double Down. Sounds like a video game at the beginning. Kind of a filler, but according to Lyric Genius, he said, I done beat the odds, but put my people on my favorite fart. I don't think he says that. And what's your favorite fart? Next song is called Cost to Be Alive. It might be a Billie Holiday sample or some female sample here. Female jazz singer. Very interesting drums here. It's still the 808, but they're doing a slightly different rhythm. Again, listen to Lil Baby. I won't say I'm the king of the jungle, but I survived. Do you hear what I'm saying? I won't say I'm the king of the jungle. When's the last time you heard a rapper? Hey, people love correcting me in the comments about this stuff. Give me other examples of rappers being humble like this. Of where they could say, I am the king of the jungle, but say I am not. The best example I could think of is Biz Markie. I'm not saying that you're all mine. Don't own it like a hornet, but you paid for the performance. God damn it, you want it. You know, like Biz Markie will often sort of say like, I'm not the greatest, but hey, I'm kind of cool. You know, but here he is, like, I survived. That's the thing. You can never hate Lil Baby. You can't. You almost later. There's a song later you sort of want to hate him, but like, you know, it's great. I'm not the king of the jungle. You're not. Especially not when Future was on the last song. Top Priority, a little bit of a different, like, attacking flow. He talks about social media, about getting a blue check. I don't have a blue check. It sucks. I want a blue check. Not for me. Just my kids would be proud. Next song is called Danger. This is where I had a big realization that with this rise of 808s, that like Run DMC is no, you know, and Rakim, like they're no longer the basis of hip hop. If we go back to the old school, we should be thinking about Houdini. If you don't know Houdini, Houdini was a very popular rap group in the 80s that had kind of softer songs with these 808s. This song, I put it back to back. I played Danger by Lil Baby and Friends by Houdini. How many of us have them? And like you put them together, they sound very, very similar. Next song is called Stop Playing with Jeremy. This is the first actual soft song on the album. None of the songs like go hard. But this is the first one that's like a love song about a shawty. Very kind of sleepy, very R&B. Next song is called FR, which feels to me like it's just trying to be a TikTok song because FR is like internet slang for real. This is for real. That's for real. Then we get to the song Back and Forth. Okay. Whoa. What is going on in this chorus? It's like 60 girls, just me and the gang. And no one got their phone. Get into it. If she's out with us, she won't make it home. I'm a tourist. F me good tonight. Tomorrow I'll be gone. Like, this is serial killer music. No one's got a phone. If she's going out with us, then she's not coming home. It reminds me of Dennis Reynolds from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia talking about buying a yacht because of the implications. Because of the implications. What do you mean they don't have a phone? They're not coming home. Weird. Weird, creepy song. This also features ESTG, who has good raspy voice. I don't dislike this song. Next song is called Shice Talk featuring Pooh Shiesty. Again, you're tired of watching this video, dude. Ma'am, lady, Toby's sick of the video. The damn streaming bloat. I don't care how open-minded I become. I'm getting sick of it. I'm tired of talking about this damn album, and I like this album. No Fly Zone is the next song, which is quite nice because he talks, it's oddly confessional. And this is the thing, like, he gives you just enough. If we could just cut out 10 songs. On a private jet in Wyoming, I was chilling with Yeezy in a stolen car in the 9th grade. We had just lost Lil Breezy. So going around and talking about, like, the past and the present and the future. Actually, it's not unlike that Billy Woods album I reviewed last week. Even though Billy Woods is super underground, this kind of like present and past mixing together. I ain't got no credit still. Long as I'm getting money, I probably never will. Ain't no sense in putting myself in debt when I keep getting these checks. Financially sound advice. If I had to realize that I'm the catch, I can't be having sex with anyone. Sometimes I get sidetracked, and it's easy when so many come. They never have nothing but always screaming, give me some. I'm trying to be rich for real. Whatever to give it up. So there's this weird thing where it's like understanding that he should probably be building his credit score, but he's not going to. He should probably not have sex with just anybody because he has a certain amount of value and wealth. While at the same time, do you see how he's like constantly in all these different places at once? And the album ends kind of upbeat with a song called Russian Roulette, which shouldn't be upbeat with its title. More personal, 100 racks for my kid's lawyer. It ain't my fault. She don't got morals. I got rich. That's my life story. That's interesting. I got rich. That's my life story. I left the streets in a paddy wagon. I came back and got right to it. Never question my loyalty. It's that deep, then don't do it. It seems to go my hardest when I'm going through it. So a couple things there. One, another theme throughout this album is just how he's constantly trying to be that guy. Loyalty and presence is a huge thing to him. Not to women, but to men. Presence and just always doing that. And just this line, I seem to go my hardest when I'm going through it. Remember how I said earlier, I don't think he raps to be quoted? Maybe I think that because I'm an old man from the East who can't understand Southern rap that well. So if I'm not paying attention, it just sounds like to me. And that's not because they're bad or stupid or dumb. It's because I'm bad and stupid and dumb, okay? When I say blah, 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 I'm not making fun of them. I'm making fun of me, okay? So I hear stupid, but then I actually read the lyrics. I seem to go the hardest when I'm going through it. Hey, I'm going to use that line for the rest of my life. That's a great line. Seem to be going my hardest when I'm going through it. That's great. That's playing around with the word go and its different meanings and even going through and go hard and go through it because things are hard. I could spend a couple more minutes on this, but I'm so tired of talking about this damn Lil Baby. I'm just going to keep going. These are my Patreons. I'm not going to buy this album. And it's not that I don't like it. But as I said, these albums are not made to be purchased. They're made to be streamed. Much like the original Season 4 of Arrested Development, which everybody hated. It was made to be streamed. It's a question of medium. But anyways, I want to thank all of these Patreons. And I want to thank you for sticking around this long. You hear me talk about Lil Baby for 45 minutes. And I swear to God, I'm not wearing this for any reason. I just was wearing this shirt. It's a very good shirt. I bought it last summer. I bought it as my Anthony Fantano costume for a video I made last year. But I wear this shirt like once every 2 weeks, and if I do a video, I always take it off because I don't want to seem like I'm doing a Fantano bit. But I'm like, screw it. Screw it. Giving this album a strong 10. Not an ounce of fat on this album. Not a single thing I would cut out. Transition. Teeth in the game. There's the camera.